So today's topic is how meditation can bring our best in times of turmoil. Many of you are meditators here, as far as I know. Everyone, at least, meditate regularly or know what meditation is, or explored meditation at some point in their life. Meditation has many benefits: physical, mental, spiritual, and obviously everybody's understand life is very hectic nowadays with so many distractions, gadgets, busy life at work, at home, in communities, and everybody is stressed out. And they all understand, every one of us understand that the information overload of emails, text, messengers, Facebook, and you know, there's so much of information out there, so much of news you're exposed to. It has never happened in the history before. It used to be very controlled. People used to either go to their news delivered through the newspapers, and then the radio came, and they'll hook on to a radio station, and that's their source of news. And then television came, and now radio channels came, and now we are internet, and then it's an explosion of information. And in that information, we had to figure out how to live our lives and make sense of it, and also make sense of the world around us, because there's so many information which is either real or not real. People are familiar with the word fake news. So what is fake, what is real? So we are living in at times where we are exposed to the turmoil, exposed to the ups and downs, much more than we were ever exposed to before. It's not that the turmoil was not there before. The turmoil was always there in the history. If you look back and open the history books, you'll find wars, you'll find conflicts, you'll find differences, and all kinds of situations which kind of created stress in the population there. It's just that we were not aware of them at the same time. Now we are, in the internet age, are aware of everything. We just have to figure out where to focus on. So, if knowing everybody is aware of most of the things happening around us, if we have to distill it down to what are the challenges of today's turmoil world, how would you say that? What are the categories of situations which are causing pain in the world, in turmoil, in stress? So anyone want to share? Maybe share one word, 2 words. What's causing? What's the pain?
Syrian refugee crisis.
Refugee crisis. People are running away from stress, fear for their life. Okay, good.
Uncertainties.
Uncertainties of the future. We don't know what's happening. Whether we will even have a future or. Okay, good. Uncertainties. Fear.
I think it's the distrust amongst people that is just increasing all the time.
Right.
Whether it's racial or it's gender related.
Okay.
It seems like that's increasing all the time.
So distrust, what you're sharing is the distrust among communities, races, religions, nations, name it. There are many walls out there. And we think that this side of the wall is good, that side of the wall is bad. Very simple. And that helps some people to some extent, hidden interest, but there are walls and there's a distrust. I agree, totally. Anybody else?
Stability.
Stability or lack of stability. Yeah, stability means you don't know what's going to happen. It's all shaky. Are we going to have stable life? We are going to have the rules that govern this life. Are they going to be stable? Are they changing so often that we don't know what's the right thing? What's going to happen next? Can you also say it's uncertainty to some extent? Yeah, you had it right there.
Pretty close to that time.
People don't have time.
Or they're constantly living in the past or in the future, not in the present.
Absolutely. So past and future people are living, and they are kind of, everybody's in rush. Well, not say everybody, but at least most of them. And it's anecdotal when I say everybody. It looks like whoever we meet is in a rush of some sort, is trying to get something, or they don't have time to spend with each other, have a conversation. But thanks for all of you to come and have this conversation, because that's exactly what we need to do more often. But everybody, everyone has things to do, and life is uncertain. So you got to make sure your survival is there. You have enough financial backing, enough things in your home in case of crisis. So in fact, when there is more crisis, there's more stress for people to say, I want to make my future even more secure. If I was thinking about a year or 2 years, I'm now thinking about 10 years. What's happening to my kids, and so I have to take care of that, and therefore I don't have time for each other or reflection and so forth. Okay, good. So I think that kind of nicely reflects, and you're all aware of this. Now, what is unique about this time, current time, is that we are aware of this. We are all aware of this at the same time. But if you look back history, it has been always there. There were the whole Mahabharata, many thousands of years ago, they had similar political issues at that time, right? That's why there was a big war. That they could not be solved through conversation. There was all kinds of attachments, greed, ego, that played into that time, right? And I'm just using one example, but if you look back history and unfold the papers of history, there's been turmoil all the time. Now it's a little bit overwhelming because of the information age. We understand that it's hard to change it, though. Is it hard to change? Is it possible to change this time? Or is it possible to change what's happening out there? Anyone? Do you think that, yes, it is bad. We all agree to that, right? This is a conversation again. We all agree that that's a stressful time and there are challenges. Can we change it? Is it possible? Say?
We can change how we perceive it to how we see it.
We can change how we perceive it. Okay, that's a good one. So you're not really saying that you change that situation out there, you change how you look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point, and I would like to talk more about how that could make difference. Good one. Yes, sir?
I think now we have more power to be able to change the things. So as the things which are happening, say in India, Japan, influence us,
Yes.
we are also able to influence the things which are happening over there or even anywhere in US. So we can, through our ideas, because we are able to project as well as
Good
receive.
one. Absolutely, yeah. That's so the information age is not just one way. You could be also the other way,
Yes.
which is, yes, I hear this overload of bad news, but can I also reach out to anyone and anything? And that's a very, very true statement that now even crises happen in the world, the help pouring out from the different parts of the world. So it's all not bad news, right? When there was earthquake in Nepal or tsunami in the south and east of India, or in those islands, there was so much of help from internationally poured right there. And we talk about refugee crisis, but we know that there is pain and suffering. But we also should know that there are a lot of countries and a lot of people who are really throwing their heart out to help. So take your point. Well, what else can we change? What really can we change? We can help, for sure. We can make a difference. Tolerance? To make people more tolerant? How do we do that? Propagate that. So propagate the message of tolerance. That's a good one. So thank you for sharing. This is a good conversation where we have to reflect on what can we change. We cannot talk about what we cannot change. The focus of our conversation should be what can we do what is possible, what is realistic, what is practical, versus what is not in our control. So I think the ability to discriminate between what we cannot influence because it's happening, unfortunate, but can't do anything about it. But then here's a few areas that I can do, and Arvind talked about it, and you talked about it. You know, to just understand the context behind it, there has been leaders, saints, mystics in the world who exactly focus on that aspect. You know, Guru Nanak has a quote that says, Nanak dukhiya sab sansar, which means there's a pain everywhere. Everywhere there's a pain, everywhere there's a suffering. I mean, he recognized it 600 years ago, or 500 years ago. And you can look at this. He didn't stop there. There's another line which I'm going to say later. But their suffering is there everywhere. And we can look at those suffering and say, okay, you know, I don't understand this, why God even had that happen. That's true. I had grown up like that. One of the reasons why what attracted me to meditation is a pain, suffering is so high. I mean, what can we do about it? What is God doing about it? Right. So there is a story my spiritual teacher tells. Arvind Naik, he tells the story. There was a person who would meditate regularly, and he was a positive person. He would think there'd be a better world out there. So he would meditate under a tree. One day he was meditating, and he sat in the morning, got up around lunchtime, and he opened his eyes and saw a hungry person sitting in front of him, looking for food. And was just waiting for this person to get out because he had a lunch box right next to him. He was about to eat the lunch after meditation. So this guy said, I'm hungry for 7 days. So I haven't eaten. So he said, okay, I at least have food. Maybe I can give my lunch to you. And he gave the lunch. This person was happy, ate the lunch, went away. So this person went back to meditation and wanted to ask a question to God. And he had this question to God: why don't you help these people or this kind of person? What do you do? Why does even there suffering in the world? And what do you think he got the answer in his meditation?
You got the help through him.
Yes. He said, that's what I just did, through you. I'm here to help. So, you know, God is not going to land from a spaceship and fix everything. It's going to work through one of us or all of us or whoever is ready to be the instrument of God. We could be that instrument of God to make the change in the world. But what is the challenge? Is that so easy that we just become a source? Well, number one, we have to understand, are we there in a position to be the instrument of God? Right? Are we in a position to help others? If we are stuck and busy, as you said, we're so busy, we're so many problems of our own, and we have so many challenges in our own life, we are actually needing our help for ourselves. I wish somebody helped me to this challenge and that challenge. We have a long list of challenges in our own life. And if you reflect on that, it's a long list. Personal struggles. We have relationship issues. We have loss, chronic diseases, illness, terminal diseases, failures, disappointments. Name it, right? Is anybody here is above any of this or experienced one of them in their life? We all go through that, right? It's no secret. We all go through that. Among that, how do we find help to help others? How do we get above our own challenges to help others? And that's the challenge of today's time. Is not only we help ourselves, but also find time to help others. It's important that you are in a stable position to be able to help others. And you all know, everybody fly here in the airplanes. And when you're going through the instructions, the first instruction comes is when the masks fall, put the mask on yourself first before you help any neighbor or child if you have. And why is that? Because if you are not in stable condition, if you're not in a position to help others, God will not pick you up as an instrument. Right? So we have to be stable ourselves first before we could be of any help to anybody. Does that make sense? Or do you think we can just help? Yes, we can help whatever we can financially, but in order to be helpful really, we have to be in that position. Mahatma Gandhi said beautifully, he says, it's so difficult to change the world, but can we start with ourselves? You must be the change you wish to see in the world. So what does that mean to us? Is like, how do I change myself? If you want to bring stability in the world, if you want peace in the world, if you want this turmoil to go away, we need to be peaceful. Is everybody okay with that concept? Does that make sense? We need to be peaceful ourselves before we can share the peace. Change begins with me. You know, there was a competition in United Kingdom about, you know, who can draw peace, drawing. It was a drawing competition, so they invited many children to say, can you draw, peace? How do you express peace in drawing, in an art? And many children depicted beautiful, serene sceneries of nature, trees, and it was very peaceful places. And there were thousands of entries, and one of the entry got the first prize. And what was that about? It was a dove in a rock in the midst of an ocean which was churning. It was a dove sitting in a rock in a small pigeonhole amidst an ocean which is churning. And why do you think this picture won? What was so special about it?
Outside did not bother.
Outside of, so whatever is outside is not bothering this person. Okay, good point. Any other thought?
Peace is within. Peace is within
Peace is
the
within.
dove. And the world around is not impacting us. So despite the whatever is happening, the churning is happening, you still have the faith and you still have the peace is within.
Yes, absolutely. So, and point is right. So, the peace is not like you sit in a peaceful place and you shut down the information and you are at peace because there is nothing disturbing you. That's not the peace we're talking about. The real peace is when you could be peaceful amidst turmoil. In the middle of the challenging world, in the middle of situations which stresses us, in the middle of this applies to not just the world, but I'm talking about even personal life. Even in personal life, when the bad time comes, are we peaceful then? Versus I'm peaceful when nobody is disturbing me, nobody is causing me pain, when everything is fine, everybody is healthy, everybody is we are financially okay, when there is nothing to worry about in the near future, when all the relationships are very loving and kind and everything. So all of that is happening, then I'm very peaceful. And then if this is what we think usually, this is exactly how our mind is programmed, is I am peaceful except for this person who's causing me pain in my life. Or except for this situation which is causing me pain. If this go away, believe me, I'll be peaceful. I'm a very peaceful person, except of this or that or then. And then we are blaming something else outside of us for our lack of peace. The saints have reversed this completely. They're saying, no, you do not. It's so hard to change ourselves. How hard it is to change anybody else. We talked about it last time in the leadership, how the spiritually oriented leadership is, the leadership is not about changing others or transforming others. The saints and mystics have talked about transforming ourselves. About how do I become strong so that the turmoil outside does not affect me. And this pigeon that won the prize exactly represented that. He said, okay, there is turmoil, there is ocean churning, but I am at peace. And that's exactly what meditation does. Many times we struggle with relationships, death, loss, and definitely they bring turmoil in our life. Chronic diseases, illness. We do a project and we fail. We lose jobs, disappointed with someone or something. It just does bother us, right? I mean, there's no human being who would say, well, that's a good thing. It's very hard to accept that as a situation which, and we think that maybe we pray to God and somehow that will go away. But the truth is that situation came here for some reason. If we look at our lives, all of this struggle, there are two reasons for it. Only two reasons. If we talk to God and if we can have that conversation, so that's what the saints have distilled down, because they meditated, they researched this topic. This topic has been there for research thousands of years, so it's not new. Personal struggle, how do we deal with stress and how do we deal with turmoil in our life? And we all go through it. There is no exception. If you're a human being, if you grow up to be a perfect human being, no problem, that's almost impossible to find. And those who are saints and mystics, if you look at their lives were full of turmoil as well. It's not that they were very lucky, so they were only thinking about God and nothing bad happened to them. That's not what happens, right? Every saint and mystic, look at anyone. Whatever is your favorite. It's my favorite, it's Kabir or Guru Nanak or Shankaracharya, Vivekananda. Look at their lives. They were like, no, we're not easy. We're not easy. They were full of turmoil and challenges. There are only two reasons. I just want us to reflect on their wisdom, on why is the challenge come. One is a reaction from the past. We, being the children of God, being the soul, being the Atman, being the spirit, we have free will. So we exercise our free will, and we have been living forever. We don't know when we were born in a spiritual sense, right? The spirit has been there forever. So we have been exercising our free will. So whenever we exercise free will, we create karma. We do an action, it creates a reaction. Some of the reaction happens immediately, some of the reaction happens delayed. That's how our life is determined. That's how we determine who we are, what in the physical sense. And some of the bad times come because of the reaction from the past. We can't change the past, so we have to accept it. The next is what choices we make. What choices we make right now. So we can't change the past, but at least we can choose right now. And I think somebody made a point of changing perspective. This is exactly what this is about. Change the perspective. We have the situation, that's fine, you can't change it. It happened, it was supposed to happen. You fell sick, you lost money, whatever. It happened. So what can you do? How do you see that? If you see that as a blessing in disguise, as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to realize the truth. If you did not have that pain, you would not think about that there is pain out there and have compassion and then do something about it. If everything was just fine and rosy, we'd be sitting there and enjoying it. But the pain and suffering comes to teach us something, to teach us a lesson. And our role as human being is to learn from it, to take everything that happens as sweet is thy will. We take everything that happens as a sweet will of God. Not just will of God. Because yes, will of God, okay, you can complain. But we have to say it's sweet will. It must be a good reason for it that it happened. And if you had karma to take care of, and that the bad time came and it took care of the karma, then there's nothing else but to thank God that that's taken care of. Because if it was not taken care of, it will come back sometime later in our life. It has to be taken care of. So we are always grateful. We are always thankful. And we always accept everything that happened that is not in our control, as sweet is thy will. I'll tell you a story of a king, which I also yesterday told in the camp, a meditation camp we had. There was a king who went on a hunt with a wise minister, and in that hunting an accident happened from one of his colleagues that his thumb was severed. And the minister said, "Sweet is thy will." And the king got upset with him to say, "How do you say, sweet is thy will? It is an accident and I'm suffering in pain." He said, "There must be a good reason for it." And the king did not understand him, understood him, and he put him in the jail. And the king, or the minister, wise minister, when he went to jail, he said, "Sweet is thy will." So the king got even upset and said, "How can he keep saying sweet is thy will? How can he accept everything as positive?" And then after a few months, he went on the hunt again and he got a little better. And this time he got lost because he did not have the wise minister. He got lost in the jungle. And he was caught by tribes in the jungle. So the tribe thought, "Oh, here's another human being, doesn't belong to our tribe. We have to sacrifice a human being for our rituals. We're looking for one, so prosperities." That's what the ritual they had. So this is a good one. So let's sacrifice him. And they were ready to sacrifice him. The priests who were sacrificing him checked his body one final time and said, "Oh, this guy has a severe thumb, so he's unfit for sacrifice. We need a complete human being." So they let him go. So, well, this king realized that, my goodness, I just came out of the mouth of the death. And it says, this minister must have had some wisdom to call it as sweet as thy will. So he went back to his kingdom and celebrated his survival, and then released the minister. And the minister said, "Sweet is thy will." So the king asked the minister, he said, "Thank you for giving me the wisdom. I didn't understand at that time, but now I understand it. But I understand you said that when my thumb was severed, why did you say when I put you in jail that sweet is thy will? What was that good about? What was good in that?" And the minister said, "I see it's sweet as thy will in that too, because if you had not put me in jail, I would be with you in that hunt, and I would have been with you in the loss. And if they would not have sacrificed you for because of the severe thumb, they would have sacrificed me." So that's the story tells us something, that we can see goodness in everything. And it is hard. I believe me, it is not easy. When the difficult times come, and if you ask, like, okay, see goodness in that, oh no. That time nobody's ready for it. But if we have the wisdom, if we have that connection to the higher wisdom, then we can see the real positiveness even in the turmoil situation. And how do we get this wisdom? Where do we get this wisdom? It's not sold anywhere. It's not bought anywhere. It cannot be, spiritual. One of our spiritual masters, Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, said, spirituality cannot be taught. Nobody can learn. You cannot join a classroom or a college degree, or you cannot go to a tutorial and say, okay, I will learn spirituality, I'll be wiser. If I do this $2,500 course, I'll come out to be a lot wiser. And if I do this half $500,000 course, that will take care of all my wisdom issues. No, there is nothing like that. No, you cannot buy it. You cannot learn from it. You cannot be taught, and you cannot buy it either. You cannot say, oh, it's available in the shop and I can download it and then I have it. So it cannot be bought. The only way you can get spirituality or wisdom or the knowledge is by catching it from one who has it. You have to be in the company of the wise people, and One is you have to be in the company of the wise people, listening to them. And second, you have to be receptive. That's it. That's your secret. That's how it has been given from ages. If you look back at our history of the traditions of the guru and disciple relation, what is that? There's a master who knows these things, the disciple who's ready to spend time with him and listen to him. That's how the Upanishads are written, that's how the Vedas are written, that's how all of the wisdom that we have is came into fruition. Somebody has it, somebody got it, we can get from him, we can catch from him. So it's important we spend time with those who are enlightened or wise. You can only learn from them if you catch them. So that's one. What do they do? What happens when we are in touch with these masters, in spiritual masters? What are they telling us? Can anybody tell me, like in a few words, what are we learning? And how does that address all of our problems we talked in the beginning? What are we getting from them? Are they telling us some mantras that will just eliminate these issues? Or there is something more to it? What is happening in your view? Or what would you go and look for, let's say, if you already are in touch with Master, you know it, or you are looking for a Master, then what are you looking for? What would you look for?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, okay. What else they teach? They say peace, be at peace no matter what. Good.
How to get there.
How to get there, how to be at peace. How to be at peace with the word. Okay, what else? Good one.
Knowledge of self.
Knowledge of self. And there is a lot in that word. There is a lot in the self that will heal you, there exists some knowledge, there is some power in knowing about ourselves. So good one. I want to continue.
Seeding or desires?
Seeding?
No desires.
Oh,
Seize the desire.
seize the desires. Seizing the desires. That means getting rid of the desires. Get rid of all the desires. Yes, absolutely. But not all of them. We have to have some desires. But that's true. I think what you're saying is desires are the cause of the suffering. Is because we have desires, we have expectations, and here's the kind of a rabbit hole. It's like when we have desires, sometimes the desires get fulfilled and sometimes they don't. When they get fulfilled, you feel like, wow, I desired and I got it. It must be me who's able to get this thing done. So I have the capacity, so it builds ego. And when they don't get filled, it's disappointment. It's building anger in us. Why? And the stronger the desire, the stronger the anger, or the stronger the ego is. So when you got very angry, then we go into the path of violence, thought, words, and deeds. And that creates karma. And that binds you back to the cycle of life and death. So yes, the desires are the seed of all the suffering at the end of the day. We can eliminate those, that would be great. You are already wise. See, I'm just trying to facilitate this conversation. What else? So we have knowledge of self, seizing of desires, and inner peace. I think it is.
They make us realize that Atma is at peace anywhere.
Yes. So they help us realize that we are soul or Atman, and because of that, we are all peace already. And that's kind of same as what Arun was saying, is the knowledge of self. The knowledge of self, what you're referring to, is the knowledge that we are. See, when God created this whole creation in His all consciousness, He created lots of things, including our souls, right? And so the soul is being the part of the God, the drop of the ocean, is all consciousness, has the same characteristics as what God has, literally. It's like the drop has same characteristic as the ocean, except for the volume. But then it also makes wet. It's also a hydrogen and oxygen. It also has that liquidity and that all the characteristics, right? So we have all the characteristics within us, accessible to us right here. That's the closest we can get. the challenge is that we have this mind, matter, and illusion that covers our soul, that tells that we are not the soul. And that's what the enlightened beings are here to tell us. Not just tell us, but to help actually realize it. So this is the next step. One is that everyone here knows that we are soul. Everyone feels that they are soul. That is very established. We have heard it over and over and over again. Our scriptures have enforced it, and our parents have enforced it to some extent. We know that in our wisdom, but do we realize it? I mean, some of you realize it. I'm not saying everybody, but mostly we are working towards that realization that we are soul. And that realization that we are soul leads to these characteristics that we were talking about. The soul being a soul, we're already at peace. We're already wise. We're already full of bliss and love. So they teach us to love, because they say that love and God are same. Actually, and when I talk about love, I'm not talking about loving the pizzas and the chocolates, or loving a friend. This is unconditional love that oozes out of you no matter what. And it is get tested, especially in the time of turmoil. So these characteristics, if we can realize and if we can tap into it, and that's what the saints and mystics do, is they help us realize this. And what do they tell us? How do we realize this? It's through meditation. And it's through reflection. So there are 3 steps. One is knowing that we are imperfect, but also knowing that it's possible for us to merge with divine consciousness, and it is possible. So number one, it has to be possible, otherwise you would reject all the theories as, yeah, it's bookish knowledge out there, but it's not realistic. I mean, we just had a mantra or the prayer. It said, God lead me from unreal to real, from ignorance to light, and from from death to immortality. We talked about it. We say it all the time. But do we really believe that it's possible? And that's what the focus of the saints and mystics is to take the scripture of knowledge out there and make it real. It is possible for each one of us, there's no single exception, to realize and to actually see the light, to actually realize that you're a soul, and become a second nature. It almost like the peace becomes second nature in you. So it's possible. That's the first thing they tell. The second thing, they tell you how to do it. They teach you how to do it. They say 2 things. One is, of course, spend the time in the company of the saints, who call satsangs. It's important we are always in the... See, one is we get into admission into college and we like the subject, but then we leave halfway through. And then we're not going to get the degree, right? We have to continue to stay there. So important to always stay in the company of the saints. And then they teach us how to reflect within. It's important to go within to tap into this power of meditation. So I am actually, how much time we have? 11:20? We have 15 minutes?
It's 11:30 now, I guess.
We have 11:45? Okay. So, many of you have to go. I would like to say, if those who are come forward will meditate, and we actually going to experience this. The whole reason for us to listen to a conversation is to be able to sit down and meditate. Right? If we don't know how to meditate, if we don't sit down to meditate, the conversation will not be useful. So how about we all sit and actually learn the meditation technique, because the teachers are here to teach us, and I'm here being an instrument to tell you how to meditate. Now I know that many of you already know how to meditate, but I'll just go to the instructions again anyway. Okay? So meditation has 3 steps. Stilling the body, which is the easy part. Hopefully you find a comfortable pose in which we can sit for next 5-7 minutes. Stilling the mind. The mind has to be stilled, and that's the hardest part. Mind runs around with thoughts. So what we do is we're given a trick or a tool. Is repeat God's name in your mind, slowly, gently. What it does, it keeps our attention here, because in order to in order to repeat something, your mind attention has to be there. If you stop repetition of a mantra, then your mind starts wandering into thoughts. Goes in the past, goes in the future, and the mantra keeps you here and now. So that kind of present moment, and you're watching. So when you still the body, you still the mind, and then just gaze in the middle and be open and receptive to whatever comes to you. As your mind stills, you will experience divinity. The stiller the mind, the more experience you will get. But know that even for a few minutes when you sit, there is a benefit, even though you may not know exactly. Your mind is getting the benefit by stilling it. So when you still the mind, you experience yourself as soul. And the experience comes through the light and sound. The soul is all light. It's made of the same vibration as this divine current. When we are able to still the mind, we see the light. Okay? So we're going to sit down and try to calm our mind. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer the other questions. So right now, take a pose, sit comfortably, relax your toes, relax your knees, relax your legs, your torso, keep the back in a straight position as much as you can, so you can sit without any distraction. Relax your shoulders, relax your neck. Close your eyes, look in the front of your whatever distant point, and keep your eyeballs straight, and then gently close your eyes. When you gently close your eyes, these are not the eyes which looks at the spiritual realms. It is the inner eye, located between and behind the eyebrows. So when you close your eyes gently and you gaze in front, essentially the third eye, Shiva Netra, or Ajna Chakra, is essentially experiencing something, what we call seeing. Essentially it's an experience of looking. So as you gaze in the middle, initially you'll see darkness, but as your mind gets stiller, that darkness will sprout into some kind of light, or flashes of light, or some activity that's coming from the divine self. So we'll focus there for a few minutes and repeat the name of God in order to keep the mind here and now. Gently and slowly and lovingly repeat the word of God. Once the repetition is going, keep looking in the middle. And whatever is best for you will happen to you. So we'll meditate for 5 minutes and I'll get you out of meditation that time. Thank you. Slowly and gently do the meditation. Now 5 minutes is by no means sufficient, so we hope that you have this technique and you can practice more at home. I would recommend meditating 15 minutes minimum at any time. And continue to practice. We have lots of programs that help us grow our meditative practices, overcome difficulties, and allow an environment to practice regularly. I'd like to close our today's topic is basically it is possible to overcome the turmoils by knowing that you could be the instrument of God. Because there's best thing you can do is to become the best instrument of God. And how do you become the best instrument of God is by allowing you to accept His will in your life, personal life, connect to the peace and the tranquility that is ever existing in our own soul, and serve others with that peace in mind. Becoming peaceful is the first step, but then when you're peaceful, you automatically share. And love is the only commodity that increases when you share. So when you share more, you get more love. It's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you are practicing it, continue to practice it. If you are practicing and having challenges, don't give up, because it's definitely a hard path, but it's possible to get there with the guidance of the spiritual teachers and masters. You have to seek the guidance. Once you are practicing regularly, the right things will start happening in our life. With that, I would like to share with you what the programs are there, but is there any question whatever we discussed today? I'm kind of light audience, but then all wise people who are already here, so I know there's not much questions, but I'll be happy to take one or anyone want to reflect on a specific thing. Good? Alright. So we have meditation programs throughout this Twin Cities area. We have the temple. We meditate regularly through the class from Nirav. Nirav was here a few minutes ago. We have every Sunday 9 o'clock class in temple. We teach meditation in the hats with children. We're very passionate about teaching meditation to children, because adults are not as good students as the children are. And they can benefit their life, they have a long life to live, and they can really, really benefit from learning meditation. We just had a camp yesterday at our meditation center, and Pujabaiji was there teaching yoga to our children. It was a great camp. We had about 65 children and about 40 parents who attended that. It was a great way to, the children were so energetic, so receptive to learning positive things, how to be kind, how to be respectful, safe, at the same time learn meditation. And so we have a lot of programs in our meditation center in Columbia Heights also. You're welcome to make a visit and listen to a few of our sessions or participate and meditate with us. If you like it, you can come more. Otherwise, we have a beautiful partnership with Temple, and Temple does a great job, and I've been volunteered here at the Temple for many, many, many years. Not as many as Pujabaiji, but I'm very fortunate and very grateful to this beautiful organization. It promotes spirituality and learning the truth all the time. And I'm very happy to be part of it. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And thank you, Arun, for all the support that you give and make it happen. So I want to give you back to Arun for the closing of the ceremony. Or do you want to sing a prayer together real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Just a one prayer.
Go ahead.
We want to thank God for not only each other, but thank God for allowing us to reflect on this beautiful wisdom. So we'll sing a prayer if you want to join me. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God lead me from knowledge of incomplete to completeness, absoluteness. As soul, I'm as complete and as absolute as God is. And if I have that knowledge, I will be overcome any difficulty and challenging. Thank you very much for being part of this.